Father in heaven, bless us as we gather today for this meeting. Guide our minds and our hearts so that we will work for the good of our community. Teach us to be generous in our outlook, courageous in the face of difficulty, and wise in our decisions. Thy will be done. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I'd like to call this meeting of the Hancock County Commission, Thursday, September 26, 2019, 2:30 p.m. to order. Roll call.
Mr. President, all commissioners are present this meeting.
Thanks, Steph. Approval of the minutes of September 12, 2019.
Move to approve.
Move to approve. Any questions, additions, deletions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Okay, Sheriff Fletcher is going to do a little presentation. I'm going to just turn it right over to you. We'll remove ourselves from up here and you can use this area.
Thank you. Thank you very much. On June 1st, 2019, the Hancock County Sheriff's Office received a request from the East Liverpool PD for assistance regarding a subject on the Newell Bridge. The female subject was making threats to jump. Our deputies arrived soon after and the subject refused to speak with any officers. After briefly speaking with her mother, the subject jumped into the river. There was a barge, tugboat, traveling up the river just south of the Newell Bridge. The name of the boat was the Alice Jean. The pilot and crew on the Alice Jean saw what had taken place and immediately turned toward the subject floating in the river. The crew moved quickly to aid and rescue the subject from the river. The crew threw a life preserver to the subject, who was able to grab onto it and was quickly pulled to safety aboard the boat. Subject survived with little, if any, injuries. However, if it wasn't for the efforts of the crew on board the Alice Jean, there was a strong possibility the subject may have drowned. Hancock County Sheriff's Office wishes to recognize the efforts of the crew members of the Alice Jean. Eileen Provins is the manager of crewing. And it says on June 1st, 2019, the tugboat, Alice Jean, was south of Newell Bridge when a 19-year-old female jumped from the bridge. The Alice Jean and her crew immediately took action and went to the aid of the struggling female. The actions of the Alice Jean and her crew rescued the female from the Ohio River and as a result saved this person's life. In appreciation, the Hancock County Sheriff's Office wishes to recognize the crew, the Alice Jean, and her crew. James Blake Jr., Travis Neely, and Jared Strosky. James Blake. Thank you. Travis Neely. Thank you very much. And Jared Starkey. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Now they all
Thank you so much.
On behalf of the Hancock County Commission, we'd also like to commend you on your efforts and rescue.
Thank you.
Thank you. You guys are willing to stay and listen? You're willing to depart?
We're gonna vote because I owe them steaks.
Here, if you all want to put those things and
Thank you.
protect them,
Yep.
okay?
Make sure.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Sheriff Fletcher. Do we have any callers today? Correspondence. I have a couple things that I'm going to say now because I think they pertain to what's going to be happening within the next 3 weeks. First of all, the River Fest will be this weekend down here in New Cumberland. I'd like to make note that was a Community Appreciation Award given in Weirton to volunteers. And there's a little young lady that we actually presented an award to about 5-6 months ago, Madeline McKinney, and she was selected as their first recipient of this. And the bookstore in Weirton on 22nd Street, I believe it is, did a little fundraiser. The 35% of their ice cream sales between 4 and 8 p.m. on Monday will be going to the animal shelter in Madeline's name. So we're grateful for that. There'll be a cancer walk October 19th, 9 a.m., sponsored by the Health Department, open to the public. And that same day, there'll be a ribbon cutting for the Hancock County Parks and Recreation Dog Park off of Gas Valley Road. It's between the ball fields and the recycling center across from the animal shelter. That'll take place between 11 and 2, and a couple things that they have planned there. There'll be registration, there'll be some door prizes, there's going to be a Halloweeny costume contest for the animals, that is, the dogs, and there's some raffles that will take place. So the public is invited to that. And one other thing is, conjunction with Senator Bill Ehlenfeld, delegates Randy Schwartzmiller and Pat McGeehan, Jeff Davis, and I were able to attend a DOH meeting in Charleston on Tuesday. And each county, there was 4 counties represented, although they all didn't get to present because the guy was really strung for time. He could only have a half hour. But we got to go first, so we hogged the time and we didn't make shame. We centered in on Route 2 and the Roads to Prosperity project. They said a decision could be made by the spring as to which option would be taken. There's 5 options out there, 1 through 4 keep the traffic on the ridge. Proposal 5A takes the traffic off the ridge down through the lower end of New Cumberland and out more of a straight shot. By far the most expensive project. So we kind of asked who's going to make that final decision, and he told us that in their packets that we were presented and the people that attended the event at the Career Center their comment section, and these comments will have some weight down there. It's our tax dollars. How much weight they carry, we don't know, but we're committed to at least passing that knowledge on to the public. I've got some extra copies here. On the second page is showing the 5 alternatives. And if you guys or the public fills these out, we'll make these available at the courthouse and can get them back to the courthouse. Commissioner Davis believes that we will make a personal presentation to the Department of Highways in Charleston with these. This might be our only hope to carry some weight. Anything else you want to add to that?
No, you pretty much hit it. Obviously, money is the biggest factor, but after all, the citizens of this county and throughout the state voted on the projects that were presented to them. The project that was presented to us and the $18 million that Hancock County was to receive is why we voted for what we did. And I think the only chance that we have of getting the road in New Cumberland that the majority of the people want, which is 5A, will only be looked at strongly if we fill these forms out and get them back to Charleston. And he almost alluded to it that way. The strongest thing we have going for us will be these letters and the citizens saying what avenue that they want. So I would encourage everyone, whether you're in a group, you don't have to live in New Cumberland, you could live in anywhere in the county here. But I would encourage you to fill one of these forms out, and if you could get it back here to the courthouse, we plan on it being in Charleston on the 16th. The deadline is the 17th of October, but we would like to hand deliver these to the Commissioner of Highways so we can assure that they've received them. We can look them in the eye and hand them these forms. It is very critical that we pass these out to friends, neighbors, groups, and ask them just to write a small sentence on the road of their choice. Obviously, the majority wants 5A. Not everyone will want 5A, of course, but let your voice be heard. You've already voted for it. If we don't speak up now, we can only blame ourselves if we don't receive the portion of the money that we voted for. So again, I encourage everyone to take a form and pass them out.
And if you're not able to get a form And we've asked the news and everything. There is a website that you can go to, and you can actually respond live online. So hopefully that you guys could put that in the paper. And Rick has agreed to flash this on the screen there. And Juliana, you're more than welcome to do the same. We appreciate all the help that we can get.
And I want to thank everybody also that showed up at the meeting up at the Rockefeller Center. We had a great turnout. The people from the state were very surprised at the people. They expected maybe having 5 to 10 people, and we had probably over 70 to 100 people there show up. So I want to thank you for your support, but we need it also on paper so we can get it downstate.
Okay?
Commissioners, question, will these forms be available where?
To be
We'll put them
available-
down in the lobby of the courthouse. I believe there's some down there right now with the old window where the receptionist used to be. And then maybe we can get a box put there. They can slide their paper in there. It takes seconds to fill out. And we'll collect them up like Commissioner Davis said and get them to Charleston.
Thank you. Possibly you can have some signage there on that window, inviting people to,
I think there's already one sign posted on the outside entrance. We'll do something there to make sure.
if you've got additional signage, I'd be happy to post it on my floor as well as the tax office.
Okay? And also, they are available in the New Cumberland City Building. For those that know their way around there better.
If any of you belong to civic groups, you'd like to hand them out, we can certainly make you copies, hand them out at your civic groups, and get as many folks as you can to sign these letters. Appreciate it.
Okay. New business. A little redundancy here, but consideration of the approval of Mark Cooper Sr.'s resignation from the Hancock County Parks and Rec Board effective immediately.
Move to approve.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Consideration of approval of George Hines III resignation from Hancock County Parks and Rec Board effective immediately.
Move to approve.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Consideration of approval of Nancy Kowalski's resignation from the Hancock County Parks and Rec Board effective immediately.
Move to approve.
Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0.
Gentlemen, I would like to just comment. I'd like to thank each one of those members for serving on the board. Mark Cooper did a fabulous job in working pretty much day to day with the construction of the animal shelter, or the dog park on Gas Valley. He did a tremendous job, and George Hines was there quite a bit to help him out as well, and Nancy, of course, was vocal in her efforts on the board. But I thank them, and I commend them for all the work that they've done.
Agreed. Okay, number 4, consideration of approval to advertise for 3 vacancies on the Hancock County Park Board. These vacancies have different expiration dates, and we will probably note that on the advertisement or when we interview.
Move to approve.
Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Consideration of approval of provider agreement on behalf of the Juvenile Mediation Services. Karen, do you need to speak to this?
No, it's just part of the.
Right.
It's a formality.
Right. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Office of Technology and Communications. Bob, you or Jeremy or both?
I think Jeremy.
Jeremy?
Yeah, there's 2 grants from West Virginia Department of Homeland Security Emergency Management. One enhances our response capabilities for hazardous materials with a D-content, and the other is stop the bleed kits that are going to be put in the public schools in the county. So,
Okay. So the first one we have there is consideration of approval and application for the grant through the State of West Virginia Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Management. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. And then the consideration of approval of an application for a grant through the State of West Virginia Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Management. That one will be for the school trauma kits. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Consideration of approval and application of a 2019 West Virginia Courthouse Facilities Improvement Grant. Mr. Vitus?
I was going to let Jeremy continue to talk about it. Every year we get a chance to do some improvements around the courthouse, and this year we'd like to do some improvements on our elevator and our ADA compliance here. So this grant will be filled out for replacing the power units in the elevator, which were installed with the elevator a little over 50 years ago. So.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Consideration of approval to hire Andrew Locke as a full-time dispatcher effective October 1st.
Move to approve.
Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Consideration to hire Jordan Green as a part-time dispatcher for the 911 center. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Is there a motion to approve the dog warden animal shelter in and out report?
So moved.
296 animals in, 258 animals out. Was talking with the humane officer this morning, and we are way above last year's number of intake and output of animals. And that could be two-sided, but I'm going to say the one side is that I think the people know that the animals are being taken care of and getting into the places that they need to be got to. And they are doing a fine job up there. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Sheriff's Department. We have consideration of approval to present a bid for body armor vests.
Move to approve.
Are there any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Consideration of approval of a grant awarded by the Homeland Security Grant Program. This, I believe, is a $70,000 grant awarded to the Sheriff's Department for radios.
Move to approve.
Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Consideration of approval of change in salary tables for the civil service deputy sheriffs. Mr. Sheriff Fletcher, would you like to talk to this?
Over the years, there hasn't been much of a separation between the ranks. This is an opportunity to separate the salaries, the base salaries between the ranks, such as first class, second class, etc., sergeant, lieutenant, chief deputy. So wanting to move into a higher position of authority within the department, it just makes sense that they should have a separation between the ranks. Otherwise, why bother? Especially with all the extra duties that are required on each rank.
Okay. This will come at a cost to the county of approximately $60,000, if 59,061, I believe, is the exact amount. Some change. Yes. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Questions?
Discussion.
Discussion?
I'd just like to comment, I mean, we all appreciate the law enforcement that we have here, and not only is this really an opportunity to recognize the officers in the different positions, encourage them to take on these positions. As as you can see in society, a lot more is brought on to our police force, and it's very difficult to get men to want to be police officers anymore. This also will help out new officers after they've served for, I believe, Sheriff, what is it, 2-3 year period?
2 year.
2 year period. It'll move them into a deputy second class. So it's one of those things. It's just the cost of doing business, and as we can see, it's tougher and tougher. It's tougher for us to find dispatchers, police officers, and you can understand why. They have to deal with the public, and it certainly has changed in the way it used to be over the several decades ago. So.
You said several decades and looked right at me. Maybe a few decades and look at me?
Several's three.
Several's three.
Thanks again. I thank the men.
This is basically in accordance with every place like you work. I was in the mill, and the higher you moved up on the line, the more responsibility you assumed and you received. I think the biggest jump is $300 maybe a month, and it's the incentive to continue to move up the ranks.
Absolutely, sir.
We've talked about this for over a year now.
We've been discussing this actually
To at least.
Going back to the first commission meeting, or one of the first commissioner groups that I was with. You were there, but we started discussing it then. It's just taken us that long, or this particular body of commissioners, to see it my way.
We did this for your men, not you.
Obviously, my salary's not on there, so it's
I was
okay.
just gonna say, sheriff isn't listed underneath.
Not listed.
Okay, all those anything else?
He said we haven't passed it yet.
Say, all those in favor? Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Consideration of approval to hire Maurice Tucker for the position of court security effective October 1, 2019.
Move to approve.
Going to divert to Mr. Lucas for this. It's hard to get people for this position. And we've suggested that this be advertised as an ongoing position. So without being the advertisement, we feel okay to do this today.
But has it
Jumping
been
out of the walls to
advertised?
come out.
Was it advertised?
Not this particular time.
My recommendation is, if you're going to go outside, and I try to stay consistent with that it's got to be advertised. Otherwise, it could be challenged.
Okay.
Now, I wasn't sure if you said if there was an approval in the past for this as an ongoing position, if this had been somewhere in the past, but there's an argument that it's a rolling position, it's a rolling ad, but if that hasn't been done, or if it's not clear enough from our website or something along those lines, I would recommend that it be posted before official action be taken
Mr.
on
Lucas,
it.
if I can interject, and this may help or it may not.
Okay.
When this position was first put together by myself, the chief judge at that time, and I had a few meetings. A great deal was written up to where he signed off on it, and the requirements for the security is rather stringent. We're in past law enforcement, so and so on, so that it really narrows it down to where, actually, the very first time we filled the positions, we wrote to every retired law enforcement officer in the county. Wrote letters of invitation to come sit in and see what we were trying to attempt. It wasn't, no one's trying to circumvent, it was just brand new position at the time. When we first hired him on, I think we took in, if I remember correctly, 13 to 15 people initially, and then it has decreased now to the point where we're looking to add more on. But again, the requirements of the position are still the same when the judge first signed off on it. And of course, the Supreme Court at the time had to have their thumbprint on it also.
Mm-hmm.
It was fairly different, fairly new in the valley, if that helps.
No, I appreciate that. And I understand why that first go-around makes sense. It seems like ineffectively you had notice out there, so that would solve that requirement. As some time has passed, and as the circumstances you may point out, it doesn't hurt to simply post the position for those simple qualifications. If other than Mr. Tucker or a few others apply for it, the answer is clear. I just think that the notice is the key part, so that no one, I'm not saying that you're trying to circumvent, that's not my point. I don't want someone else making the allegation that the county is circumventing, either intentionally or unintentionally. Therefore, his hire is never challenged in any
I
way.
have more than one opening, so if anybody else cares to pitch a complaint, I might be hiring them on too.
All right, duly noted. I just think it's better safe than sorry. I understand your position, and your point's well taken.
Would it be improper if I ask you to advertise at this time, sir?
It's not an agenda item. I think we're circumventing the system again if we do that.
That's why I asked if it would be improper.
I can't say that, and I think we spoke a little earlier, is that at least on the county website, if you just left like an open date, then it's because, like you said, they're not jumping out of the woodwork to apply for the job.
No, I'm calling them up.
Yeah. But at least if it's constantly advertised, then it would take us out of the loop for this, and you could just.
You wouldn't have to
hire a state
you wouldn't have to worry about it every time. That's I can't remember what other positions we've had
I
to
think we
deal
did
with
it for
that.
911, and we might have done it for the animal shelter. Might have, but I think we advertised again last week. I don't know if we left that open or not. So, because they're part-time positions, and you can see why, but, okay.
Yeah. That's what I got.
With that legal counsel, I'd also like to withdraw my motion.
Okay. So would there be a motion? Nope, we can't do that either. We're good. Okay. Finance. Approval of exoneration orders. We have 16 of them. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. We have no commission travel. General county bills. Karen?
General county bills are $104,616.55. P-card payments for all funds, $45,875.66. August expenditures for all funds, $1,265,451.08. Sorry.
Can you repeat that number?
Yes, $1,265,451.08.
Thank you.
Sorry
All
about
right.
that.
Is there a motion to pay the bills?
So moved.
Can't go over $1 million too many months in a row, though, you know that.
Well, that's all funds, so.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Animal shelter levy fund and bills?
They're okay to pay.
Motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Library levy fund bills? Requisitions?
They're okay to pay as well.
Move to approve.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. And the sheltered workshop levy fund bills and requisitions?
They're okay to pay as well.
Questions? Motion to approve?
So moved.
Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Go to the order. We went that way last time. Go this way this time. Karen?
Nothing.
Mr. Lucas?
Nothing today.
Mr. Vitus?
I too would like to thank Mark Cooper for all the work he's done on the Hancock County Dog Park. And since it's a special day, I'd like to wish happy birthday to Tracy Lemons.
Do we have to sing?
But thank you.
Tracy?
Thank you for hiring and approval today. We are almost back to full staff, which is wonderful. We actually have one that is part-time, so we're hoping to be able to get her trained hopefully by the end of the year, and we will be back to full staff if nobody leaves again. So thank you for that, and Bob, thank you. And I also have a birthday wish because his birthday is tomorrow, so happy birthday tomorrow to Bob. Thank you, guys.
Tracy, you have one of your seasoned dispatchers here with you today? Introduce her, Sierra. Welcome.
She's back there.
Okay.
I didn't notice that, or I would have. So, and when we were talking before about, when we had our active shooter in the county, Sierra was the one, in fact, that had called me to tell me that she was on her way in without being called. And she made it a point, once she got there, all the positions was filled. However, she took it upon herself to schedule the dispatchers that needed to come in the morning, and the different things that she did. So, thank you. I'm very proud of her.
Okay. Mr. Alonji? Jeremy?
Nothing.
Mr. Wright?
Yeah, nothing. Everything's cool.
Sheriff, I think you've said enough. But
I
do you
think I have
anything else?
to. Thank you for letting me off the hook.
We would like to announce 2 open houses for the public to
Good.
get to know our voting machines. The first is going to be at the Weirton Senior Center. It's going to be Friday, October 11th, between 11 and 4. And then the second's going to be at the Hancock County Senior Center. It'll be Saturday, October 19th, between 10 and 4. And we hope to see everybody there.
So on the 19th, you could really make rounds in the county. You could do the walk, you could go up there and cut the ribbon and pet some dogs, and you can walk over to the senior center, you can register to vote and see how to use the new machine.
Exactly.
Ready on by noon.
So- Okay, Commissioner Cowie.
Just again, want to thank both Mark, George, and Nancy for their service on the Hancock County Parks and Recreation, and especially to Mark for the work he put out there. And thank you for your service, and make sure everybody think about it and see if they'd like to get on the Hancock County Parks and Recreation, make a difference for our parks.
Commissioner Davis?
Just a reminder of what you said to Riverfest this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, downtown here in New Cumberland. Hope each and every one of you can make it out to it.
And I too would like to thank the 3 individuals mentioned earlier, including and especially Mark Cooper for all the work he did on the dog park. Actually had Mark Cooper do his first TV interview. He tried to put it off on me, and I couldn't speak to that park as well as he could. And he did a fantastic job, and they're still not done up there.
It's Mark Cooper.
And even though they're resigning, Mark and George have agreed to finish doing what's left up there, and I'm sure everybody will be at the open house. So, okay, anybody, anything? With that said, there's no further business to come before the board. I declare this meeting adjourned.
Okay. Oh, the meeting.
Meeting times.
Meeting change.
Why do I always forget to go to that? Yes.
So we're not adjourned then.
Our next meeting is supposed to be October the 10th, and we have a request to move that meeting to October 17th at 2:30. Am I perfect on those dates?
Yes.
Yes. Is there a motion to approve the meeting change?
So move.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. October 17th, 2:30 p.m. Now, with that said, I move that the meeting be adjourned.